Alrighty, and we are live. I am so excited to be here today. My name is Leanne Kalal, and I am a member of the numerologist.com team, and I am here with the fabulous Kelly Fox from astrology.tv, and you can follow her at Kelly Fox Astro. And today we are talking about the new moon that's coming up. And so I can't believe that it's already, we're midway through July. Like, what I do feel like we're in this weird time warp, and every time I talk with you, Kelly, and we're looking at like what are the dates and what's going on, it's like, yeah, it's going to be July 20th soon, and that's when our new moon in Cancer is. And I know that there's a lot to do with home and family, but there is a little catch. So what I'm going to hand it over to you. What's going on? What can we expect? And I know for me, I personally love I love full moons, but I love new moons because it's just such an incredible time to plant new seeds of intention, clean slate, start fresh. And so I'm crossing my fingers.
I know, right? Hi, Leanne, and hi, everyone. Wow, I don't even know where to begin after all of that. So the first thing I want to say is, can you believe we are already in July? And we're already like,
Mid.
I'm looking at the date and I'm like, is that really the date?
I
It's
know.
like, I can't even believe we're halfway through July already. It's just incredible. And yes, we are in a time warp. Absolutely. We really are. And so the big thing is the new moon in Cancer. And it's not just a regular old new moon. It is supercharged. It's turbocharged. And that's because it's forming an opposition, or the sun and moon are opposite Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. And that is really, really, really intense. It's like we're already in an intense year, and, now we've got another intense time. So I'm going to take a step back and just explain, what that all means, and then what it means for your zodiac sign. So a new moon, we have every month, every 28 days, we have a new moon. And so what it means is new beginnings, because, if you look up in the sky when there's a new moon, you can't see the moon. It's completely dark. And that's like at the very pinnacle point of the new moon. And then as the new moon starts to wax or move towards the full moon, which takes 2 weeks, you can start to see and I'm doing this, which might be reversed if I do that. I can't work it out. But it's like, you can start to, in the northern hemisphere, you start to see the slither.
Yeah.
On the right hand side. Yes. And that's also Cape Cod, what you just did then as well. That's what it reminded me of. Because I remember when I went there, I'm off on a tangent now. I remember when I went there, they kept doing this, and I was like, I don't know what that means. And it's like, look on a map and you'll know.
Funny.
So if you're in the northern hemisphere, you'll see on the right hand side the slither of the moon starts to get bigger. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's the opposite. You'll see like the left hand side. Anyway, so every 28 days we have a new moon, and it's all about new beginnings, and it's all about a new cycle. Now this coincidentally is the second new moon in a row that's been in Cancer. So the first one was on the solstice, and I've been going on and on for months ahead of that time that here we have like this solar eclipse new moon on the solstice, and so that marked a giant turning point. So this is actually the first new moon after eclipse season, or after that giant event that we had a few weeks ago. So a new moon is all about new beginnings. It's all about setting new intentions. And so if there's something that you want to manifest, this will be the time to do it. And this meaning Monday, and I'm looking at my handy dandy calendar here, and it's Monday at 10:33 a.m. Pacific time, which is 1:33 p.m. Eastern time. So that is the exact time to set your intentions, specifically around home and family, and also finances. So anything that you want to manifest financially for the future, or anything around security, because, with this new moon in Cancer, it's a supercharged new moon, not just because of the challenging aspects or the challenging oppositions it's making to Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, but because it's a really strong moon, because it's in its favorite sign. So the planets, and that includes the sun and moon, just for the sake of ease, astrologers call the sun and moon planets. But the planets have their favorite signs and their least favorite signs. And so for the moon, its very, very favorite sign is Cancer. So Cancer, the crab. So we've got a very, very strong moon. And it's very intense because of these oppositions that the sun and moon are making in the new moon to Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. And I'm going to explain what that means in just a sec. So with the new moon, it's all about setting new intentions because it's in Cancer. Cancer being a cardinal sign. The cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. And so the cardinal signs are all about new beginnings and new directions. So you've got this double whammy of a new moon about new stuff with a cardinal sign, which is also about new stuff. So, and also a very strong moon because you've got, the moon with its favorite sign of Cancer. So you put all of that together and it's a very, very strong time to set new intentions. Now, with the opposition that the sun and moon are making to Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, it's like, oh my goodness, where do I start with that? So, and I know I always say this, but it's like, I know we only have limited time, but it's like, there is so much to say about this. And, I do have more information, Leanne, on astrology.tv about the new moon and about stuff like that. So
I think I have a link for that. So I can find that.
And I actually should have given you the link to the new moon article as well. But I mean, there's tons of other links I've given you. So with regards to all this new moon info. So an opposition is just as it sounds. It's like when two or more planets are opposite each other. And I'm doing this meaning this is a full moon, usually, is when the Earth is in the middle of the sun and the moon, and it's like a tug of war. But this new moon, it's when the sun and moon come together and it's looking at the Earth. But here's the other thing. The Earth at this time is in the middle of this new moon. And then on the other side of that, 180 degrees or opposite, is Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto. So the theme of 2020 with this year that we've had or having and will continue to have, the theme of that is the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And so that happened exact on January 13th. Saturn and Pluto are the two heaviest hitting, intense planets of our solar system. Saturn is karma and Pluto is change. So you put those together and then you throw Jupiter into the mix, and Jupiter is about excess. So you've got all of this swirling around, and it's this like gravitational pull with the new moon of the sun and the moon to Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. And our little Earth is in the middle of all of this, getting sort of tousled around a bit. So
I feel that.
Yeah. No. So that's what's coming about. Now, if you are a cardinal sign or you have any planets in cardinal signs, and that's Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, you will definitely be feeling it. You will be feeling it a lot. I mean, what haven't we all been feeling this year anyway? But, we're going through, as I sort of explained, I think it was last week, it's like a portal. It's like the universe is actually not asking us, it's telling us to evolve. It's telling us to step up. So whether we like it or not, we all have to collectively step up and step through the doorway. And, with the new moon in Cancer, the crab's a very emotional sign. But that doesn't mean it's weak. It means that it feels its emotions. Unlike some other signs that are quite in their head, not mentioning any zodiac sign names, air signs, But it's like, Cancer is a very emotional sign. It feels its emotions. It has to feel what's going on before it can respond. So moon in Cancer is a very, very strongly placed moon. So that's a good thing. And it's all about new beginnings, double new beginnings, because of Cancer being a cardinal sign and it being a new moon as well. So the thing here, though, is in astrology, when there's an opposition, meaning two or more planets opposed or opposite each other, like this tug of war thing going on, but this time we've got some super duper heavy hitting planets, in tug of war with the sun and the moon. So what that means is that we will have to find a compromise. We will have to find balance. We will have to sort of straddle the middle of both sides, whatever those sides may be in your life. It's like we've got to find that middle ground, because Saturn and Pluto, and of course Jupiter too, but Saturn and Pluto, it's like they're not really planets you want to go up against. So we've got at the moment the sun and moon going up against these heavy hitters, or these very intense planetary energies. And, Pluto is all about control and manipulation and things going on behind the scenes. And then you've got Saturn, which is about leadership and authority. It's also about karma, discipline, responsibility, obligation, boundaries. And then Jupiter, of course, as I said, is inflammation or excess. It's also known as the planet of luck and good fortune, but I'm using heavily charged keywords here because it's an opposition. Now, if all of this would be different if it was a trine or a sextile. So what that means is a trine or a sextile means that planets 2 or more 60 degrees or 120 degrees apart brings opportunity and good luck and fortune. And I'm doing this because I'm feeling light when I think about sextiles and trines. But when I think about squares and oppositions, they're known as the hard aspects in astrology. And a square is 2 or more planets 90 degrees apart, opposition 120. So that's why I'm using these more, let's say, shadow keywords of these planetary influences. So
I'm feeling the shadow. Like, I just looked at my stuff. I have Scorpio and Saturn and Scorpio and Pluto. So I'm feeling a lot of intensity around this right now.
Oh my gosh, you're probably always feeling intensity. with that Mars and Saturn in Scorpio, that's you're a pretty tough lady there.
Pluto.
So everybody, don't mess with Leanne.
Yeah, I'm a sweet fishy on the other side. Didn't watch out.
That's what I was laughing at, because I know that you're a Pisces, and it's like, oh, sweet mermaid lady on the outside, but a tough lady on the inside.
I'm feeling it today. Everything you're saying is resonating.
So I want to run through what does this new moon mean for each of the zodiac signs, and what can we expect, and how can we really make the most of this energy. And I saw that you put a link in there, but I was sort of off on a tangent and I wasn't really looking.
Do you know what? I want to quickly, you read mine there. So I shared a link. You can go, and I also shared this in the comments. And so you can go learn more about the new moon in Cancer on Kelly's website, astrology.tv. There's the link right there. And then also throughout, I'm going to change this a couple times. We have a new moon report that you can purchase and you can download, and you'll be able to, it's an awesome report. It's one of my favorites. And you can learn how to actually tune into the power of the new moon and create some rituals. And then we also have a new moon. Our new moon report is on Kindle. And so I'm going to share the Kindle link too. So there are 2 options for you guys today to learn more about the full new moon in the form of a product. And then there's also a link here to read about it.
All righty. So if you're an Aries, Aries, the ram, is another cardinal sign. So this new moon may bring some challenges, and in the form of home and family situations. So what that means is, family members. What's that saying, Leanne? You can't pick your family, but you can pick your friends. It's like something like that. So for Aries, it's like you might also be feeling the pull of childhood memories, or even this is a great time to sort of look into your family tree. So it's like understanding, where you come from, and know that this is a time, because remember, it's a new moon and it's all about new beginnings, and so it's a time to heal any family issues. So anything that's been going on, no matter for how long or whatever, it's also a time to focus on domestic projects. But it's like it's a time where there could be things that come up, but it's time to tackle those head on. And Aries is the brave warrior of the zodiac, so that's nothing. They're not a shrinking violet, and nothing will deter them. So this is the time to sort of embrace this. Now, if you're a Taurus the bull. Taurus, for you, this energy is about communication. And I know that's really been coming up a lot for Taurus. It's very much about, Taurus is a cuddly sign. Taurus is an earth sign. Taurus is a fixed earth sign. And so, this new moon in Cancer actually resonates quite well with Taurus, because you're able to, now that, Mercury, and I'm just looking at the calendar thinking, hang on, I'm double checking Mercury really is no longer retrograde. I mean, I know that as an astrologer, but it's like, I've still been sort of...
We're in the shadow.
Yeah, we're in the shadow. And so I'm still sort of feeling it and dealing with stuff there. But so Taurus, Mercury, what I'm trying to say is Mercury is no longer retrograde. Your ruling planet Venus is no longer retrograde. And so this new moon in Cancer, even though it's got these challenging oppositions to Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto, it's like this is the time to speak from the heart, I think is what I'm just trying to say. It's a time to sort of feel your feelings and speak from the heart, because now people are listening. You've jumped over those hurdles. The difficult period is now behind us. And so this is the time to embrace. And some of those conversations might not be so easy, but this is the time to do it. Now, if you're a Gemini, for you, again, this is about your values. This is about what you play. I'm just trying to think of the word, and the word is escaping me right now. It's like not only what you value, but like the things that money can't buy is what I'm trying to say. So it's like for Gemini, it's the not just the money and possessions or the things that you have or your bank balance or bank account, but it's like, what are those things beyond that you can't buy but are more valuable to you? And that's what's being called upon with Gemini, and has been for quite a while. With all these sort of influences, that's been really the message for Gemini, is what is it that you value? And you know what? When it comes down to it, it's your own self-worth. And that's what's being called upon. All these things that are going on for you, Gemini, at this time, it's like these are the trials and tribulations about what's really valuable to you. And it's you. It's like, what's your own worth here? And what are you doing this lifetime? It's those biggest sort of questions. Now, for Cancer, now this is really interesting. You're a cardinal sign. This is your annual new moon. So basically it's your annual new moon. But here's the thing, back on June 20th, there was also a new moon in Cancer. It was a solar eclipse in Cancer. So this is an unusual year for you. I mean, of course it is for everyone, but for Cancer the crab, it's like you've got 2 new years. You've got 2 new beginnings. So this new moon is like your second chance. So it's like your, you think of New Year's Eve, that's what you can sort of equate this new moon to. So it's your second New Year's Eve. And it's like, who doesn't want to celebrate twice? And I mean,
yeah, like a celebration, a reset. I love it.
A reset, yes. Shadow of Mercury retrograde. Thank you for the RE word, Leanne. So, so it's like you're having your second New Year's Eve. But of course, it's sort of like with the oppositions of the new moon to Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. Don't overdo it, because on New Year's Eve, if you overdo it, you pay the price the next day. It's sort of like that type of thing that's going on. So So Cancer, in some ways, it's like asking you to set your intentions, plant the seeds for what you want for the rest of your life, not just, next month, next year. It's like, what are your long-term plans? Turn in a new direction. So many of us have to go in a new direction. And so the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, especially, or people with those planets or rising signs or whatever, you're being called upon to take a step in a new direction through that portal. So for you, Cancer, Happy New Year. And so for Leo, what's happening for you is this is a time when you really need to trust your instincts. It's really important, Leo, for you to really trust your gut, to pay attention to your dreams. And I think I mentioned last week that the symbology that's going on around you, really look at that, which is always fascinating. Because, like, here's an example, when, say, you're driving along and you see, a car license plate and it spells out a word, or, it's a shortened abbreviation for something. It's that sort of thing. Or, I think I mentioned also recently about I saw an owl and I was like, oh, I've never seen an owl, especially in the daytime. Well, I've never seen an owl at all, like a real live, living, breathing owl. I've got a lot of owl ornaments, but not like a real live one. And so I saw one and I was like, oh, quick Google, what does that mean? So, it's that sort of thing for Leo. It's like not only pay attention to your sleeping life, your dreams, but when you're awake, what's going on around you? Because we are connected to everything in our life. It's not like we're not just an island off to ourselves. Everything is connected. There's a whole gestalt around us and everything and everyone in our lives, and what goes on. What happens outside is actually what happens on the inside of us. So for Virgo, this is a really interesting period for you with this new moon in the sign of the crab. What it represents for Virgo is manifestation. So it's like, again, as I just said, what's going on inside happens externally. So have a think about that, Virgo, because this is a time for you, a very supercharged new beginnings where you can manifest or set the course for anything that you want. And here's the thing. People that you know or groups that you're part of will really make a difference. So it's like tap into that network of people that you know, and they will be able to help you with your future or help you manifest the things that you want. Now, for Libra, for you, this is a time for new beginnings around career. So if you're looking to change jobs or move into a different field, which so many of us are being forced to do at this time anyway, this is a time where not necessarily doors will fling wide open and here's a new job for you, but there is the potential. It does come with challenges. Of course, everybody, as I keep saying, everybody's being challenged this year on different levels. But for Libra, this is a time of new beginnings around career. But you've just got to be able to get over those few hurdles that are being presented by the opposition from the new moon to Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. So this is a time where it's time to stop second guessing yourself, I think, in other words, for Libra, and time just to rely on yourself. Don't wait around for anyone else. This is a time for you to sort of step up and step through that portal. Now, for Scorpio, what's coming about for you is, given the year that we're having, incorporating these new concepts and looking at the bigger picture of what really is going on, because Scorpio is the strategist of the zodiac. Scorpio is so perceptive that they can see way far ahead than the rest of us sees. So for you, Scorpio, what's interesting is don't be too dogmatic during this time. So this new moon is calling you to be not dogmatic, to be open-minded, to incorporate these new ideals into the new. So that's what this is about. And just know that the new moon is actually opposing your ruling planet Pluto. So what it's telling us is that you've got to find that compromise. You've got to find that balance. And being a fixed sign, Scorpio is a fixed sign. Sometimes it's a little difficult to sort of, once you dig your heels in, it's a bit hard to sort of pull those boots out of the mud and sort of take that step forward. So that's really the issue. But this new moon is in a fellow water sign. Scorpio is a water sign, the other water sign being Pisces. So it's like this is a time where trust your instincts and go with the flow and sort of give it up to the universe, in other words. Now, Sagittarius, a little bit similar. This is a time for you for transformation. This is a time where, your ruling planet is Jupiter, and the new moon is opposite your ruling planet. So again, same message, where don't be too dogmatic, don't be too righteous, don't be too fixed or set in your ways. Be open to what the universe is bringing you. And I don't want to sound like a Pollyanna. That's not what I'm trying to say here. It's like as hard as it has been and as it is, it's like be open to sort of being led in new directions. And at first, many of us will be resisting, as we have been, of course. But it's sort of like we're moving through this portal. We're moving through some new doorway that will lead all of us into the future. Now, if you're a Capricorn, now for you, this is about your relationships, and this is about, finding that power balance, I think is one way to say it. Finding that power balance between you and your partner. Now, if you're single, this is about your best friend or your boss, primarily boss, or colleagues, or even family members, whoever you're closest to in your life. So this is about finding that balance. You've got to give a little to get a little. I think that's the saying, but you've got to give a little maybe to get a lot. So it's not about who's on top or who's calling the shots. You got to be careful with that, Capricorn, because your ruling planet is Saturn, and Saturn is entangled with this new moon as well. So it's like you've got to be very careful. And sometimes you might be giving too much. So it might be a time to sort of lay down some boundaries or have some restrictions in some ways, because, Capricorn is the workaholic of the zodiac. So this might be calling upon, your family might be calling out to you to sort of, find that balance. You can't burn the candle at both ends. Now, for Aquarius, this is interesting because this is about focusing on your health. This is about taking care of your emotions, because your co-ruler or your ancient ruler is Saturn, and your modern day ruler or your primary ruler is Uranus. And so for you, your co-ruler is mixed up with this new moon as well. So what that means is it's important that you have boundaries. It's important that yours is a sign of invention and brilliance and the new and the future. But on the other hand, your co-ruler is about tradition and the past. So Aquarius sort of straddles this middle ground between the past, the present, and the future, or primarily the past and the future. So what that means is take care of yourself during this time. Don't be so fixed in your opinions, because you are a fixed sign, the other fixed signs being Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. So it's important that you really improve or focus on improving your well-being. You might also find that the structure of the body, like skin, bones, teeth, what supports us, take care of those things first and foremost. And then finally, we've got Pisces. And so for you, Pisces, with this full moon, you might find that your dreams are really vivid, or your creativity is sort of exploding through the roof at this time. And it's just go with it, go with it. Pisces is the psychic of the zodiac, and it's a time where it's not a time to sort of take some wild, crazy risk in some ways, but it's time to start not taking a calculated risk, but planting the seeds for something that's not just bold and daring, but, thought through and strategically thought through about taking a step outside of the box and seeing what happens, little baby steps, because because Saturn is involved. So it's like taking those baby steps in the direction you want to go for the future.
I was writing a lot of notes there. Everything
Oh.
you said really, really resonated with me as a Pisces. So thank you. And I know I've been reading the comments. It sounds like there's a lot of people I see. OMG, I agree with you 100%. So there's definitely been a lot of resonance. Thank you for sharing everything you did today. I feel like I'm learning. I thought I knew a lot about the new moon, but now I know that when there's things conjunct and in opposition, it just adds to the mix of what's going on. So thank you, Kelly, for joining us today. As always, it is I just feel super grateful that I get to have these conversations with you and that everyone gets to join us from around the world and that we get to learn what is going on in the sky and how it impacts us down here.
Thanks, Leanne, and good to see everyone. Wishing you all the best and see you next week.
Bye, everyone.